Hey guys, alright, just before the show starts, I wanted to let you guys know that my fight against cancel culture is still happening. Please go to the description below. There's a link titled Support My Fight Against Cancel Culture. If you want to help my fight, please consider giving a bit of a donation. All the information's in that link. With that being said, enjoy the show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Sit Down and Lock Down. This is a show where I interview fellow performers, comedians, musicians, magicians I've even had on the show, and anyone, actors, so on and so forth, radio presenters. I've had quite a few different talents on this show, and I'm very excited to bring to you guys a man with one hell of a mustache, Kristo Zondagh. Say hi, Chris.
How's it?
Yeah, so
Thanks.
it's Kristo, for those of you who don't know, has been a big supporter of my channel, and thank you, Chris, for that. And one evening, I was chatting to a fellow performer. He said, "Hey, you should have Chris on." I was like, "Hey, Chris, let's make it happen," and we made it happen. Kristo, for those of you who don't know, is a drummer, and I am a huge fan of drummers. I tried to drum once in my life. It didn't go too well, if I'm honest.
Well, I mean, you have to try more than once for it to actually happen.
Yeah, I know, but my parents weren't too big on the whole making a noise thing, and
No.
yeah. So, Chris, let's start from the beginning. First, I really want to know, how long have you been a drummer?
Oh, wow. I don't know, like 20 years, probably.
20 years,
Yeah. Yeah, roughly.
roughly. Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
that's okay. Let's ask this as well.
Most of my life.
Which drummer do you aspire to?
It depends on what genre we're speaking. If we're speaking like rock stuff, I guess Gavin Harrison.
Hmm.
He's like a prog rock drummer. Um, in terms of jazz stuff, I enjoy Jojo Mayer. Okay, well, he's more of like he does like drum and bass and like jungle kind of stuff, more like experimental stuff. Um, Another guy, uh, Mark Juliana. Yeah, he's probably. And then I've got a Benny Greb inspired tattoo as well. So he's also one of my favorite drummers.
Show it.
Yeah, yeah. Just to name a few.
All right. Show us the tattoo.
It's this one. I don't know if you can see it.
Okay,
Over
cool.
here, it's dots over here. Yeah, it's basically like it's like music theory basically.
Yeah.
It's got a really cool exercise that will keep you busy for the rest of your life.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's cool, man.
it can get really difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The chats are already going. I'm happy to see the Joking Atheist is with us again. Thank you so much, Joking, for joining us. He says, "Great respect for drummers. Their talent is a wonder to behold," and I agree with that. For me, Neil Peart is almost godlike behind the set of drums. I see you.
It's great.
Yeah, I see you commented and said, "I'm not sure if you're joking." I don't know who Neil Peart is.
I was joking, by the way.
Okay. Okay. Who's the drummer for Slipknot?
Joey Jordison.
Yes. Yes. I've
Yeah.
seen videos of that guy in a live event. I don't know. It was like this is like maybe 5 years ago. No, maybe even longer, like 10 years ago, even. I'm not sure. Somewhere there. And he was on a stage, and it was like the drums were like held in, like it was a grid stage, but it seemed like the drums were like nailed in or something, because they didn't move, because he went up and then he actually went upside down.
Yes.
Yeah,
It went
yeah,
upside
yeah.
down.
Have you
Yeah.
seen that? You've seen that, obviously.
Yes. No, yeah. It's crazy. Very cool stage theatrics. I dig it.
Exactly. Well,
And he's a good drummer. I mean, yeah, they're a really good band.
that's what I wanted to ask. Is it just theatrics? I mean, like, if you're upside down drumming, I don't know if you ever tried. Is it that difficult?
No.
Is it difficult to do it upside down though? Like, would you imagine that it's like a big deal?
It would definitely be something you'd have to get used to. I mean, because I mean, the whole thing about drumming is if you're using proper technique, you rely on the rebound of the stick. So when you're upside down, I would imagine the rebound just being weird. But I mean, yeah, I guess you would just play something that's not too difficult to play, and just use your wrists more than the bounce of the stick.
Fair enough. I think people should go and check out that video. It's definitely something to watch. And his it was really cool. All right, cool. So we were chatting before the show, and I really want to show because I know people are going to start maybe asking, because I don't know, how do you pronounce your name? Kristo Zondagh.
Zondagh, like
Zondagh.
the Afrikaans word for Sunday.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Zondagh.
Yeah,
Okay.
just with a Z.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That makes sense.
So I've got this friend with whom I used to play in a band with, and he for some reason he couldn't say the sound, so he would pronounce it like an English GH, like a Zondagh, like he was trying to be fancy or something. I was like, dude, and I mean, he married an Afrikaans woman, and it doesn't make any sense. We're just trying to be fancy. Like, it's so ridiculous.
Oh man, it actually reminds me. Your name reminds me of that Toy Story, Zorg. You remember that? I don't know if you watched Toy Story.
No,
Emperor Zorg or something like that.
Oh yes. Jeez, I haven't watched that in like decades. Feel old yet?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I wanted to show our audience something pretty cool, because we were chatting before we went live, and you were explaining to me that your name, it's not a stage name, it's a real name. This is his real name, ladies and gentlemen. And if you Facebook the name, it's the only one. Now, this is very hard and very difficult for some people to believe, including myself. So I was like, nah, there's got to be another one. There has to be. It's freaking Facebook. Like, we're talking about billions and millions of people. So, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? He wasn't kidding. There it is. There it is. There's his name. I will search it again so you guys don't think this is a thing like I'm making this up. There it is. It's loading. And there's some of the posts. If I go to people, it will load just him. And there you go. Kristo Zondagh. And then end of results. I cannot believe it. Which I think is like I was telling Kristo, I think it is like probably one of the coolest names ever. Because then you're like unique. It's like a branding dream. Like, you don't have to worry.
Oh, yeah.
You should totally copyright it. You should copyright your name, I think.
But I mean, how do you stop parents from naming their child what they want to name them? I don't think you can copyright a name.
That's a good point.
I think someone has tried to do it. But I can copyright in terms of using it in an entertainment.
Yeah. So like that. Yeah.
In a musical capacity, I can do something like that.
Yeah.
But that'll probably cost money, which I don't have much of right now thanks to lockdown. So
yeah, well, we're both in the same boat with that one, man. Well, I'm glad you bring that up. So how has lockdown been treating you? What have you been doing as an artist to pass the time? And I don't know, for a drummer, are there online gigs?
Yeah, it's been pretty shit. I went from living really comfortably, making a decent income, to making absolutely nothing. I have a side hustle. I do a bit of graphic design on the side. I'm always a guy that's doing event posters for my friends and whatnot. But now all of those also dried up, during lockdown. During lockdown, I pretty much did nothing. I went into like a slump. I was like, I can't do anything. I tried to practice rudiments and stuff at home, because I can't practice where I am now, which is at my parents' place. So I'm staying here like a loser. Like a lot of my friends as well, they had to move out of their places because they couldn't pay rent. And yeah, I can't practice where I am now. But as soon as things started opening up again, yeah, we did the whole live streaming thing and donations and gigs are starting again. I've been playing like proper gigs in front of audiences again. I've got one coming up tomorrow, by the way, at the Music Kitchen. If you're in Port Elizabeth, starting at 2:00, we're doing like a braai thing with
fantastic.
loud rock and roll music. Yeah, bring your earplugs.
What's it like going back into the gig now, into the gig scene now? Do you feel there's a difference, or people just don't care?
I don't have the stamina that I used to have. So the other night I did like a 3-hour gig, and I was completely knackered afterwards. Because I mean I used to play like 6 nights a week, like a full on like a production show thing, six times a week. So I was super fit, in like playing wise, and just doing one 3-hour gig, just and I mean it wasn't even like a super high energy gig. It was like in like a restaurant, and I was completely I was stuffed afterwards. So it's quite weird.
And what's the vibe like at the restaurant? I mean, like, I don't know, like for comedians, for example, right? So when we do a gig, I don't know. And I've been to a few music small gigs as well, but I mean, usually the artists kind of hang around each other before the show, then they'll do the show, then they hang around afterwards. They hang out and stuff like that with the audience, take pictures. Is that the same, or do people just kind of once the show's done, they leave?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same as it was before lockdown. I think the people willing to go out to go watch a band or something, or people willing to go into like a restaurant, they don't care enough to worry about social distancing and all that nonsense. So, okay, not that it's nonsense, just in terms of, if you are a bit younger, you don't really have much to worry about.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So yeah. So and also after you've had a couple of beers, you don't really care about social distancing. You want to hug everyone and kiss everyone.
Yeah, I think I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that people are there's a sense of old times, if I can put it that way. It makes us sound old, but it's not what I
Totally,
mean.
no, totally, yeah, no.
Because that's been my worry. I'll be honest, I haven't been on a stage yet. Comedy scene has been slowly picking up with some gigs. But yeah, in level two, when there was comedy shows, like a comedy show would start and then it would stop. And I'm not sure why. I imagine because of the regulations, but um, everybody was saying like, yeah, guys, like please don't come to a show if you're not on the lineup because we're only allowed 50 people, and that's including the acts and the staff. So there's really like only like 30 to 35 audience members, and it's really strict. And everybody, like I was told by a few comedians that after a show, everyone just kind of leaves as quickly as possible, because everybody. Oh, so the curfew was a big part of that reason. But it's good to hear that other gigs are opening up again and people are having fun. I mean,
Yeah, man.
it's good to hear that. Maybe maybe I should start getting back onto the stage and dusting off my my
Look,
rough around the
it's not
edges.
easy. I mean, like the first bit of playing I did was for a music video that I just kind of shot like with my phone. So we were all it was basically during lockdown, but it was about 2 months in, and like I hadn't been playing at all, and I I shot the video, sent it to my friend, and I listened back to the audio, and I played absolutely terribly. I sounded like I was like it was. I mean, what I played, like it looked right, but when I listened to the audio, it was just really bad. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah, good luck getting back into it. You kind of lose your chops if you
Yeah, I
don't keep doing
know.
it.
I know. I have to. I think my biggest worry is going onto the stage and then rambling. Like, obviously, before I go on the stage, I'll try and rehearse my stuff and remember where my jokes were and my themes and my punchlines and my setups and stuff like that. But I'm worried that I'm so excited that to talk to a live audience that I'm just gonna just talk.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
isn't necessarily a bad thing, but we'll see. Yanni van der Volt is asking a question for you, and he
Yeah.
says, or he
Sorry, I
asks,
haven't been just reading.
no worries. What is Chris's thoughts on, excuse not know the right names, that traditional drums versus electronic drums? Are they better, worse, benefits, and not for purists, or not for purists? Question mark. So it's like three questions in that.
Um, it depends on what style of music you're playing. It's like, I mean, when do you use a grand piano when you're playing that sort of music? If you're playing jazz or you're playing classical music, you'll probably use um, like a baby grand or like a grand piano or an upright piano. And if you want synth sounds, if you're playing in like a synth pop band, you would use a synthesizer. Or if you want to get a Fender Rhodes sound, you use a Fender Rhodes. So it's the same with drums. I think the mistake that a lot of people make, especially when they're playing like pub gigs, and they're like playing like rock music, but they're using electronic drums. It just sounds crap. Like it's not, it doesn't work for that kind of music. If you're doing like R&B or pop or hip hop or like drum and bass or jungle or something, it's very cool for that sort of music. But if you're doing like rock music, I mean, rock music has to have that acoustic sound. It just doesn't work otherwise.
Yeah, it has to
It's
be.
just not rock and roll.
Yeah. But is that not maybe
So yeah, so
a purist view, though? I mean, or is that purely because of the sound?
no. Yeah. There are different tools for different jobs. I mean, I've got like, I don't know, like 30 different cymbals that I use for different sorts of music. Like if I'm playing like a loud rock gig or a metal gig or something, then I'll use my thickest, brightest cymbals. If I'm playing like a soft, chill jazz gig, then I've got very dry, like thin sort of like cymbals that are very quiet and have the right tone and like volume level for that music. And I've got three different drum kits. I've like a tiny little drum kit. I've like a massive rock kit. So it depends on the job, and you just have to have the right tools.
Okay, cool. Would you say that maybe electronic drums might be good for someone who maybe wants to try learning and then, but maybe stays in a place where you can't play like the normal drums? Like in an apartment complex or something, and nobody wants to hear those
Yeah,
drums. Could they be a good starting point to learn drums?
yeah, sure. It's a good compromise. It's definitely not ideal. So I've had students that only had electronic drums, and they really struggle to kind of translate that over onto an acoustic drum kit. And I mean, there are like little nuances with like acoustic drums. You can like scratch the cymbal in like a certain way to get a certain sound. Like, you like play different parts of the cymbal to get different overtones. Same thing with like the toms, or like the snare drum. If you hit like the side of it, it sounds different. As to when you're playing it in the middle. Bass drum. I mean, like I don't put pillows in my like bass drums. So like how most bass drums have that short like doop 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 sound. So like I don't put a pillow in. So when I play with the beater on the bass drum, it kind of has that sound. But when I play it with off, it's like a boom.
Yeah.
It's like more of like a boomy sound. And you can't do that on any electronic drum kit that I've tried. And I've tried like the most expensive ones. I don't know. Maybe there's like a setting for that. But I mean, it's just little things like that like annoy me about electronic drums.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, my neighbors are annoyed by my acoustic drums. So yeah, it's not ideal. But I mean, if you don't have another choice, then I guess I should probably buy myself a set because I can't practice at the moment.
All right. So we've got what's his name? The joking atheist giving us a bit of a joke, saying, "Join me a drummer stereotype joke. What do you call a drummer that breaks up with his girlfriend?"
Homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard all of them, man.
That's funny. Well, I guess
that's pretty much you.
you could change drummer with comedian and it'll probably be the same. So yeah.
Yeah, any like artist.
Yeah. There was another question. I'm looking for it. I think I saw another question
What's the
somewhere.
difference between a drummer and a pizza?
A pizza can feed a family.
There we go.
There's a similar joke with Mexicans. One of these Mexican stereotype jokes that are in the States. What's the difference between a Mexican and a park bench? And a park bench can support a family. Which is
Yeah.
kind of weird because Mexicans are actually very hardworking. Like it's a
Yeah.
weird joke that they have in the States. I've always found that one weird because like there's a lot of Mexicans that are hardworking in the States. So I don't
Well, I
understand
mean,
why.
you could just kind of apply any of those jokes to like any sort of group or
That's true.
that you want to make fun of or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I
How
don't
do you know? Wait. How do you know when the stage isn't level?
wait. Let me. How do I know when the stage isn't level? So if it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
see, I'm assuming this is a drummer thing, right?
Yeah.
That this is a drummer stereotype. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
think of what. Oh man, I have no idea.
The drummer only draws from the one side of his mouth. I don't know if you've ever seen like drummer face or
Yes.
like guitarist face. You have to like pull a funny face.
Oh, I've seen some drummers like, they go it really like their faces are red, the vein is popping out, and sweat is just flying everywhere. Like they're
Yeah.
working, man. They are freaking working. I used to. I don't know if you've ever heard of Dodgeball SA.
No.
No. Okay, so they're based in Cape Town, and the owner was an ex drummer for. Oh, if he ever watches this show, he's gonna kill me. It was a biggish band in South Africa. They performed at some pretty big events. They had an album.
Yeah.
I want to say Aerosmith, but it's not Aerosmith. It's not. It's something
No way, is
similar.
that huge?
No. um, Flip. I
South
can't.
African band.
Yeah, South African band. Wait, I'm gonna try and
Mean
see.
Mr. Mustard.
They've
Uh,
disbanded since. It's a bit of an old thing. They were supposed to get back together, but I don't think it happened.
DuckDuckGo is your friend.
Sorry?
I said DuckDuckGo is your friend, not Google.
No. I'm gonna search him on because he has the band's name on his Facebook profile. So I'm just quickly looking at his profile. But he was like at yeah. So anyway, he's the drummer. He was the ex drummer for that band, and when I was working with him, he was the one that tried to like encourage me to do drums and stuff. He had a drum set and stuff. It was a lot of
Oh,
fun.
sweet. Yeah.
And he was still good. Like he would still play drums and stuff like that. But he definitely got me to fall in love more with drums, and it's something. One day I will. One day I will do it as a hobby. But while I'm looking here, you mentioned as well that because I asked you if you're part of a band, and you explained to me not exactly. So why don't you explain to our audience what exactly you do as a drummer?
Yeah, so before lockdown, I used to work for Barnyard. So they've got a bunch of theaters around the country. So I used to move around to all the different theaters and play the whole circuit. Um, and yeah, like I said, I was very comfortable and happy doing that. I did the whole session thing for like over 10 years, probably more, for like 15 years. And I just kind of got to the age where I just wanted like a solid job, but still play music, not sit in like an office and be like bored out of my mind. Um, and yeah, I was very happy with my job, and then the lockdown hit. And before that, I was just playing for a bunch of different bands. like literally anyone that asks me, I would just be like, yeah, I'm free, let's do it. And made a decent living that way.
And any big bands that we know of?
Not huge bands. I mean, I'm from Port Elizabeth, so there's not really anything going. I've had a couple of stuff on the radio. I don't know if you guys know Stuart Reese. So yeah, he's like a pop musician. He's had some stuff on radio. I had a jazz band called Voodoo. We did like Cape Town Jazz Festival. But I mean, that's a pretty niche. That's a pretty niche thing. We were like a neo soul African jazz kind of band. So it's a pretty niche thing that most people probably aren't into. I don't know. Other people would be like I've played for like Albert Frost, for instance, when he like toured here. He's like a big like blues guitarist. I don't know. Like I've just played with so many different people. It's it's not like like when like people ask me like, are you in a band? I'm like, not really. That's kind of what people do. Either when they're super famous and they can just stick to one band and like make a living doing that, or they're just like weekend musicians and just have like a hobby band that they like go and play like once a weekend or whatever. And go like do that. So you can't really be in one band and like make a living unless you like big,
Well, that is something that I've noticed because I used to also organize acoustic nights at a bar I used to run, and I noticed that a lot of the musicians like they'd be like, "Yeah, I'm part of this band," and then they'd tell me that you got to get this band in or this guy in because he's really good. And then when I get the other band that they spoke about, it turns out that it's the same guy I had, just the one guy is different.
Just with a different vocalist.
Yeah. Which is not a problem because they played different music.
Pretty much works that.
They played different music, or it was a different genre almost. But it was nice because it was also nice to see there's this one guy, Justin Hokum. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. I actually should get him on the show. He's a tremendous, I think, very talented guitarist. And he's got like 4 bands. Like, that was something very interesting to me. That it's kind of cool. I think that's nice. It keeps your creative juices going when you're doing one genre, another genre. It shows your scope of talent.
Dave definitely keeps things interesting. Yeah. I mean, I was getting pretty bored playing the same show over and over.
I can imagine.
Working for Barnyard for like, you like do like the same show 6 nights a week for like a year.
Jeez. Someone actually asked about Barnyard. They want to know what's happened to Barnyard since the lockdown. I think it was.
It's gonna open again. I know the one in Rivonia closed because they had some international acts that were supposed to play there, and they kind of like owed them money. I don't know, some drama about that. So unfortunately, that Barnyard had to close. I think all the other ones are fine. I know the one in Durban is still open. They didn't have to pay rent, which is pretty cool, of the casino. Where they're at Suncoast, the one at Suncoast Casino. I don't know much about the other ones. It seems like it's still going on. It's definitely going to be at like a smaller scale. They've definitely had to scale down, and they're not going to do the circuit thing anymore. I don't even know if if they're going to ask me to come back because they're going to have less shows running. So they're just sort of going to have one band staying at the same theater and just play. So they're sort of going to have one band playing like different shows the whole time, which is kind of cool. I would actually prefer that.
Really?
Just to like, I mean, like the traveling thing is a bit annoying. It's you kind of have to like fit all your stuff into like 2 suitcases, and I'm very low scope, and I keep like leaving things behind, and I keep like losing things. So I would prefer to like rotate shows the whole time.
Yeah.
It would just keep things interesting.
That makes sense.
It's more hard work, but it's more fun.
Yeah. I'm not sure about the Cape Town one. I think the Cape Town one is still open, the one in Tiger Valley. I think it's fine.
They recently opened.
Yeah, they recently opened it. Beautiful theater.
I haven't even gone there yet. I was actually supposed to be there when lockdown hit. I was supposed to like go there next.
Shit, man, that sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like,
No, well, hey, we can travel now. You can once everything's because it sounds to me like theater is still almost like also dusting itself off, so to speak. You know, like
yeah,
slowly getting back into the swing of things. Obviously, so hopefully
yeah.
in a few months' time, hopefully we'll have you on the stage near us. But for those of you that are watching or that are in PE, why don't you plug it again, the show that you're doing tomorrow night?
Yeah, it's tomorrow afternoon at the Music Kitchen from 2 o'clock, and yeah, it's like a live music thing, and they're gonna be braaiing at the back. Um, there's an opening band for whom I'm gonna be playing as well.
Nice.
Like the whole people playing for different bands. um, yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. 100,
Fantastic.
$100 a ticket. Yeah, 2 o'clock, be there.
Awesome. For Heritage Day too. So come and enjoy some lekker
Obviously,
braaiing. Yeah.
and it's going to be a very nice day. I think it's going to be like 23, so it's going to be a
Oh,
nice hot
beautiful.
day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So the joking atheist says, "Lol, J Emilio, the other day I said I was a white male and an atheist. I was screwed in South Africa. But Kristo takes the trophy. He's white male Afrikaans drummer hailing from PE."
Exactly. So screwed up.
What's the
Also an
deal?
atheist.
What's the deal with PE? Why do people have such a gripe against PE? Is this like a stereotype that I'm not aware of? What's the deal?
It's just because it's a small place. Yeah, that's just how it is.
Small
But
town,
it's a pretty cool
everybody.
place. I like it.
But that's the thing. Everybody that talks about PE, like they say, they'll make fun of it, but they still say like, "Yeah, I love it. It's a nice place." Like, you know,
Yeah.
okay, well, I've met two, three, four people, five people that are from PE. Three of which live in Cape Town, but they say that it's still
Yeah.
beautiful, and they go to PE like every summer, and they spend their holiday there. And then the other two people are you and Ronaldo,
Yeah.
who will, you know, protect PE with everything they've got.
No, no, I'm not. I'm pretty like realistic about it. I mean, like every time I sort of come from Joburg and I like visit my like family and like friends and stuff. Like I just get so annoyed with how slowly people drive. It's like, come on, just drive, it's just so annoying. And and that sort of translates into everything else. So it's a cool place to holiday in, but in terms of like economic activity, it's yeah, just slow in general. People just
Fair
aren't
enough.
aren't keen to work. They're just too like chilled out.
Well, we have someone asking if you. Oh, thank you, Yanni. Wow, thank you, Yanni, for posting the Facebook link to the
No,
Music
it's Music
Kitchen.
Kitchen. Yeah,
Yeah, thank you very
sure.
much, Yanni. So the where's oh yeah, Mr. Punisher is asking, is there any chance for a drum solo?
The drum solo.
Yeah.
I can give you a percussion solo. It's a bit late for a drum solo. Yeah, I can give it a shot.
Cool.
I'll just move my phone so you can actually see what I'm doing. So, little crotch shot. Like my phone's charging. Let me just pull it out. There we go. How's that for a dramatic camera angle?
All right, there you go.
Okay. Jam something.
Look at this, prepared, everybody. done, well done, well done. Come on, guys, show him some applause in the live chats. That was really cool, man. Geez, at one point, your hands were going so fast that Skype couldn't keep up. It was just this blur of hand movement.
Well, that's why 60 frames per second needs to become a thing now on Skype.
Exactly.
Or 120 frames per second for that matter.
Yeah. Yanni Vandervelt's giving you hearts and saying when someone can off the cuff just jam, yeah, well, that's 20 years of experience for you. And then
And I can also sight read.
nice. And joking atheist says, "So this is exactly what my toilet sees looking back up at me."
What did you say?
This is exactly what my toilet sees looking.
I've seen that.
Mr. Punisher hand clapping. Well, I mean, oh, okay, he's giving a hand clap. Sorry. And yeah, well done, Kristo. Yeah, that was fun, man. So you've been doing drums for 20 years, right? You have some musical inspirations,
Yeah, pretty much.
and you've been traveling South Africa doing what you do. And you're a graphic designer, which is also interesting. Is there anything else? Like, did you ever venture into other instruments?
I started on vocals. I mean, like I did my first gig at age of 3 on vocals. I was like, with like my mom playing piano, and I was like singing because it's obviously cute to see like children sing. And then I started on piano when I was, I think, in sub A or sub B. Well, I mean, yeah, back then it was still sub A, sub B. Then I started drums. Well, actually started percussion. So I started playing in my school wind band, playing like percussion, like orchestral percussion. When I was, I don't know. Yeah. And then I started playing guitar when I went to high school. And yeah, those are pretty much drums and guitar. I don't really play like piano. I never really took to it. I think it's all those strict classical music teachers that just like hit you on the hands when you didn't practice.
Oh my word, I remember that. I hate actually those teachers are the reasons why I probably didn't pursue music, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man, those people are the worst. I think if it wasn't for my mom pushing me to just carry on playing music, I would have just quit. Actually, I'm lying. You know what actually happened is I entered a talent competition at my primary school where I was singing, and then the head of the music department, the music teacher there, saw, this new kid is seems pretty musical. Let's try him out for the wind band, because I just entered the school that year. And they happened to have a wind band, and then she tried out a whole bunch of instruments. Yeah, we tried a bunch of instruments. I obviously couldn't get a sound out of a trumpet or a trombone or whatever. So I guess it's my lack of talent that got me in. All the drummer jokes are true.
Yeah. Now, I think look, I think you found your calling either way, music and drumming.
Yeah.
It's cool that you play the guitar. How good are you at the guitar? Like, can you like sing and play at the same time? Do you know a few songs?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
So
I'm a pretty good campfire guitarist.
nice. That makes you cool with the ladies.
Yeah, no, I like serenaded my girlfriend in high school on Valentine's Day, like outside the window. It's like very cute.
No, that's cool, man. That type of chivalry is dead now, to be honest with you. So I commend you, my good man, for doing that. That's something.
You know what? The worst thing is when you like wait at a door for a lady and she like tunes you, because just walk. Why are you waiting? Why are you waiting at the door for me? That stuff just kills me. Like, feminism has really killed everything.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's But it's cool, man. It's cool that you still did that. Are you married now?
No, I'm very single.
All right, ladies. If you want to get a hold of Kristo, his website link is in the description below. Send him an email. Maybe he'll come serenade you in in PE.
PE. Well, hopefully I'll be back in Joburg at some point.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
there you go. Any Joburg ladies that might be watching, there you go. But yeah, so let's talk. Oh yeah, I wanted to keep on trying to remember this. Um, so I found out the name of the band that my friend was in. Reburn.
Reburn.
Yeah.
I don't know then.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe he wasn't as big as he thought
Let
he
me
was.
let me check them. Well, it was probably big for like a South African band. I mean,
Yeah, they
it's a
did.
lot of good,
They
a lot of
did.
good
They were
local
like on
musicians.
KFM a few times. They did that. What's that big KFM festival in Cape Town? It's like their biggest musical festival. Happens every year. Because I know they did Rocking the
It's like
Daisies. Sorry.
okay. So is it? So I'm guessing it's like a rock band, eh?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
They did Rocking the Daisies a few times. They did K Day or something like that. I think it's called K Day. Last time I checked. But yeah, they were good. I enjoyed their music. All right, so Chris Wyatt. Hey, Chris, thank you so much for tuning in. Is asking, is that Super Mario? Well, if it is, he is one hell of a modern day rebel Super Mario.
It's Super Mario because I'm sorry. No, it's actually Salvador Dali.
Yeah. Oh man, that stash though. Let's talk about the stash because I'm sure there's gonna be a few guys that are gonna be hella jealous.
There's a
Because like,
story behind that, yeah.
yeah, because like I can't. I mean, it's not long enough for me to even attempt to. I mean, yeah, this is sad compared to you right now. So how long did it take you to get it like that? I mean, like, do you curl iron it? Just tell us about the stash.
Okay. So let me just start from the beginning. So what happened is I moved up to Joburg from PE the first time. I don't know, 2014, I think it was. And I was staying with a mate of mine just for like the first month or two, just to get on my legs, you know. And I wasn't shaving because we were just like two bachelors being bachelors, and like my moustache kept on hanging in my mouth, and I was just getting annoyed. I was like, I've got to get some like scissors to like trim it, you know. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go shop tomorrow, and then tomorrow it's like, oh no, we're just gonna smoke like weed rather and just chill at home, you know. And then eventually my friend's like, hey, but like why don't you just wax it and curl it, you know, because it was like because the whole like hipster thing was like a thing then, you know. I was like, oh, but that's so lame. Like, I was like, well, it could be kind of cool. Yeah, and then I found some stuff online. So it's basically beeswax mixed with like any sort of like oil that would like moisturize your skin and your hair. So anything like coconut oil or whatever. I don't know the exact recipe. I actually have a friend that makes it for me, um, and sometimes I buy it from like a shop.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so it's pretty much it's a pretty simple thing. I mean, once you've done it enough, it takes me like 2 seconds, pretty much.
So right now, your stash is just naturally like that, or do you still have to apply and just go like this very
No,
quickly in
so
the morning?
there's so after I shower, I put wax in, and it just stays like this the whole day. If I like touch it the whole time or whatever, it'll just kind of loosen up. It'll still have like the curl. But then like the next day, it'll sort of like fall flat. If I like sleep on my face or something, then it'll just sort of like fall flat. Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
so shout out to Tim said so. He's also a musician. It was his suggestion to do that.
well, I gotta admit, man, it stands out, and I think it's a pretty awesome stash. So don't lose it anytime
Well,
soon.
well,
Um,
it's
so,
it's
sorry,
fun.
Go
part
ahead.
of my like this part of my like uniform. You know, when I go on stage, it's part of my work uniform. You have to look the part, you know.
Exactly. I wanted to ask you as well. I see you've got a lot of tattoos. How many tattoos do you have?
I don't
Wow.
know. Like, do you consider this one tattoo? Because these are all separate, like separate pieces that kind of form one. So it's all of those.
That's a trick
These are
question.
all separate, like, yeah. So let's say this is one. I've got one over here, one on my chest. Then also, this is another tricky one. I've got two on my stomach, but they're like symmetrical, so it's like from like the same session. It's like the same thing. And then I've got one on my calf, and yeah, that's it. Oh, and also another shout out to East Coast Customs. They are the tattoo shop that used to sponsor me
Oh,
when I
wow.
was still living here in PE. Yeah.
Cool. Maybe I'll
Oh,
go
and
check them
I've
out.
got this one as well. Yeah, it's another one. This one's not finished yet. I still need to do color.
All right. And do your tattoos mean anything? Because I have one tattoo, and it's of Texas. So, like that symbolizes like where I'm from. I was born there, Miss Texas sometimes. So there's like a story behind it. Any of your tattoos, besides the one on your arm, as you explained earlier in the show,
Yeah.
any other cool stories, maybe?
Yeah, some of them are serious, some of them are just silly. It's like a mixture. Like this one, this one above the like Benny Greb one with like the waves. So those are polyrhythms and polyharmony, which means a lot to me because I'm really interested in that whole concept. So just to explain it, when you play a pulse, right, and you record that and you speed it up enough, it starts becoming a note. Okay, so if you ever hear like go 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 go, and it starts like becoming a note, right? So so um, a polyrhythm is basically the same thing as a chord. So a chord meaning when you play more two or more notes at the same time. So when you take that chord and you slow it down, it becomes a polyrhythm. So I'm really interested in that in that whole concept and the sort of like relationship between different rhythms being played at different speeds, and those pulses sped up, forming different harmonic relationships. Yeah. So when I found that out, I was like, oh my word, I need to tattoo this on it. And yeah, and I like figured out this sort of representation of it by myself, and yeah, that was my first tattoo. And then what else? The rest are silly. Oh, another one that means a lot to me is I've got two F holes on my stomach. So you know, like an archtop guitar has like F holes, or like a violin has those like F holes. So I'm really fascinated by the design process of that shape, because it happened over like centuries. So it like kind of started out as like little like holes, and then it became like bars, and then became like a C shape, and then became like an E shape, and then later on you ended up with this beautiful like F shape that that we have today.
I didn't
So
know
it's
that.
like this it's like this beautiful design process that happens, generation after like generation, and just ends up. So it's a very practical thing, but it ends up being a very beautiful thing. So form follows function. Yeah.
That's
No,
interesting.
so I'm very
I
interested in
didn't.
that sort of thing.
I didn't know that F whole. I don't know. I guess again, me not being a musician, I just assumed that was just some trademark kind of thing. I didn't know that
Yeah.
it took centuries to hone down on that. Do you think that maybe, I don't know, 50 years from now we might not have an F hole anymore? It might be extended, or are they still playing around with that, or is it like a
I don't
standard thing
know.
now?
I don't think the development of acoustic instruments is being like followed as intensely now as it no. as it was back then. I mean, obviously because all the effort is sort of going into like electronic stuff. You have like electronic amp modelers and pedals and electronic drums and keyboards. You know, that's the yeah. I don't know. I don't think it'll be. I don't know. I might be wrong, but I suspect not.
Well, let me ask you this. What is your honest opinion about the electronic music instruments in general? I know you gave your opinion about the drums and stuff like that, but I mean, as a general thing, do you? Because I'm sure there is this two different camps in the music industry, and I'm assuming here, I could be wrong. The ones that say, "Hey, no," they reject electronic instruments. They want to stay true to the instruments because, like you said, there's certain things you can do with the acoustic instruments that you just can't translate to electronic. But I'm sure the electronic guys can do things that maybe the acoustics can't do. So where would you
Absolutely.
fall under,
Yeah.
and how do you feel about it?
Well, I myself, I mean, I tried, well, not tried. I used to make like beats and stuff and like little like electronic tracks when I was in like primary school, when I was running like Windows 98, and I got like free loops from a friend that I like pirated. Shh, don't say anything. Um, yeah, and I like it, and it was just kind of boring. I didn't take to it. But I mean, I love electronic music. I mean, I love like drum and bass and psytrance and minimal. I love hip hop. Um, yeah, so I'm not really like a purist in that sense. Like for instance, I've got a project with a friend who has like a bunch of like synths and like chaos pads and stuff. So he does all the like electronic stuff, and I do like drum and bass beats over it. And I love that kind of thing. And then we've got like a dude rapping over it. So I'm not like a purist where like, oh no, music has to be this. I mean, you get. I I think I think it's because it's so easy to put out an electronic track because you don't need like a studio to do it, right? You don't need to. So with a musician, um, you have to sort of be at like a certain level to sort of warrant paying the money to get into like a studio and like record something, right? So I think there's a lot of shitty techno music out there because it's so easy to just release, you know, something that you made. Um, but it doesn't mean that there isn't good electronic music out there. Yeah.
Well, I
So yeah, I love it. I've got no problem with it.
yeah, I've always been in two minds, but then again, I've never really. I mean, I'm not a musician, so like I feel like sometimes I
What do
don't
you
know.
into?
I like
What
my
music do
rock.
you like?
I like my punk rock, Nirvana. Flip, man. The moment I start now, it's gonna like never end. I'm very much a '90s, '80s,
Yeah,
early 2000s.
yeah.
I wouldn't say late
Like
2000s.
Blink 182, Sum 41,
Yeah, now you're
Green
hitting.
Day,
Yep, you're hitting all the right ones
yeah,
right there. Yeah.
Foo
Um,
Fighters.
there's not one band you've said now that I don't like.
Have you seen Foo Fighters live? I actually saw them in Cape Town
No, I missed that,
at
man. I saw Red Hot
pretty
Chili
pretty
Peppers
bad.
live when they were here.
Oh
That
man, I'm so bleak up this that. I actually had a gig, ironically enough, and I couldn't make it.
we're talking about Red Hot Chili Peppers here, man. Like,
Yeah, no, man, I really didn't.
no, their performance and their live concert here in Cape Town was absolutely phenomenal. I don't mean to make you feel bad. It was great. It was
No,
fantastic.
I
It
heard,
was fantastic.
I had friends that,
Yeah.
that went.
I haven't seen a lot of bands live, but yeah, I like Taking Back Sunday. They're like my all-time favorite band, and it's only because of the lyrics. I
Yeah,
don't know if you know Taking Back Sunday, but
yeah,
yeah, they're I love that band so much.
yeah.
I think Adam Lazar writes their stuff. I'm not sure, but he's just got a way with writing lyrics that really speaks to me, and that's why I enjoy them so much. But I also like their music. I mean, they're one of the few bands that, for me, I'm sure there's other people that may not like them or not enjoy them, but for me, nearly every album that Taking Back Sunday has put out, I don't think I hate the song. Like, there's
Yeah,
always an
single
album.
song.
Yeah, there's always an album that comes out and you don't like all the songs. You know, you like the maybe five of them, but the other five you, yeah. But with Taking Back Sunday, I like all their songs, like literally all their songs. But that's just me. I don't. I'm not saying that they are the best band in the world. Absolutely not. Um, but
No,
yeah,
but there's no such thing, you know.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
there's it's not like athletics where you can determine rationally who like won the race. everyone
Exactly.
everyone just
It's an
has their
art.
own
So I mean, the art
their
will
own
speak
taste.
to different people from different backgrounds. You know, like I said, the lyrics touch me in a certain way, and
Yeah,
I relate to them in a certain way. And that's why I like them. I know that other people might listen to the lyrics and be like, "This is it's okay." You know, it's not like the best I've ever heard, and that's fine. They're also alternative rock, I think, more than punk rock. And that's the thing. What I don't like about electronic instruments is that I feel that some bands are shifting that way, if I can put it that way. Like it's difficult to like. I feel like even Taking Back Sunday, if I listen to their old stuff and their new stuff, it doesn't sound the same. And I don't
no,
mean
well, it would be weird if it did sound the same. I mean,
I don't mean
my
in
my
terms of I don't mean in terms of okay. So for example, Red Hot Chili Peppers, right? They were a lot angrier back in the day, if I can put it that way.
of course,
Um,
yeah, because they
than
were
the
young and angsty.
Yeah. So you can hear there's a change, right? But I'm
Yeah,
talking about, I don't know, like when I listen to some of the old stuff Taking Back Sunday has and some of the new stuff, it's not about the sound in terms of like, oh, they were angrier then, now they're like this. It's more like I'm
sounds
noticing,
like a different band.
yeah, almost like I'm noticing like electronic things that have been
Yes,
added to it. Very, very, very minimal. It's not like they go all out or
yeah,
anything like that. But it's these little nuances every now and again, and I'm like,
yeah.
I just prefer if you just stuck with the
Yeah, I know
guitar.
what you mean. I mean, I get a bit disappointed when I hear that as well. But the thing is, the way that I see it is that they already did those albums. You know, they
Mhm.
already put that out. So now they want to put out this album, and it's going
Yeah.
to sound like this. You know, so it was kind of done already. It's like I don't know if you know Miles Davis. He's like probably the most influential jazz musician to ever
Mm.
live, right? And he did. I mean, I'm a huge fan of these like stuff from like the 50s and like early 60s. It was like bop, like bebop stuff, and like okay, not okay, so not bebop. It was like how would I? It was like modal. It was basically like modal jazz.
Mm.
Okay, probably like French too, but people that know jazz would understand what I'm talking about. And then after that, you know, he just went like in like the 70s. He did really crazy experimental stuff and like also used electronic instruments and synths and stuff. And like I hate that stuff, but that music influenced a lot of stuff that came after it that I do like. So it's a it's I mean yeah I mean I get why you don't like the new stuff if it's radically different, but I think it's also important to not stagnate.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I feel that Taking Back Sunday, even though it sounds a bit different, it's not terribly bad. I still enjoy the music. The lyrics are still good to me. There's very few bands, honestly, that I can say like completely changed from like their style and even their voice, if I can put it that way, or their artistic expression. Um, I understand that we all have to move with the times and new things new technology happens and stuff like that. So I get it, but
Yeah,
I think also what I'm trying to say is like the '80s when you had like Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, Motorhead, freaking
yeah,
Queen. Those were like that was like rock, man. Like when you say rock, I think about those bands. I think about the ones that stayed in the studio for hours and hours and hours trying to get that perfect take, and going into a garage in their parents' home and like practicing for hours on end, and stuff like that. Like that rock doesn't exist anymore, in my opinion.
But have you noticed? Okay, but have you noticed that there's like a bit of an ebb and flow, right? So in like the 70s, you had all these great sort of like blues based rock bands, okay, like Zeppelin and like everyone that you mentioned, and then in the 80s, digital recording and digital instruments kind of changed the whole sound. It was all like synthy and stuff. I mean, you still had your like rock bands, but I mean, glam rock bands had like keyboards and synth in them, so there was a big influence. And like the drums sounded very fake with like the
Yeah.
heavy reverb and that the sounding snare drum. I don't know if you like know which like sound. I hate that snare drum sound because it sounds so fake. But then in the 90s, we had the whole like grunge movement again, where they kind of went, so like the pendulum swung the other way, where it was because I really like Nirvana, but it's very untidy. Like the singing and the guitaring is it's very untidy. But for the time, it was perfect because it broke away from that perfect
Yes.
robotic 80s kind of a sound.
Yes.
So I think it'll come back, the whole like acoustic. I mean, you kind of see it in the whole acoustic guitar thing that's been happening for the last couple of years. You know, like people, even if it's with like a bass drum or whatever, it's still at least they're using an acoustic instrument.
That's true.
Yeah. So it's I see it as like a pendulum thing, and it just kind of goes like back and forth.
I'm just looking here. Count.
Backstreet Boys. Let's talk about Backstreet Boys. By the way, Joe, you are my fire, my one desire.
Oh my word! I don't even remember those lyrics anymore, and I'm glad I don't.
Do you not want it that way?
No, I most certainly don't. All right, so Count Van Tankomp says Metallica Saint Anger, worst snare drum ever. I had that
snare drum
album.
sound is terrible. It sounds like crap.
Saint Anger was an actual, like, it was a disappointment for me as well. Like, I didn't like that frantic song. I didn't like most of the songs. But I like Metallica. Like, I like Metallica. Don't get me wrong. Like,
I
reload,
liked
reload.
Metallica until I saw them live, and then I just hated them after that.
Everyone says that.
Hey?
Everyone says that. Like, you're not the first one to tell me that.
Yeah. Lars Ulrich played double bass drum pedal the way that I played it after I bought my like double bass pedal. After I had it for like a week, that's how he sounded. It was terrible. It was bad. Like they were like old men that were like washed out. No, it was cut. No.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I used to like it.
Yeah.
Until then. Muse is the best live band I've seen.
The music
that was I wasn't that into them, not because I didn't like them. It's just I wasn't, like, you didn't have like Spotify back then. You just kind of copied the music that you got from your friends. Again, pirating, guys, whatever. Yeah, like they just completely blew me away. They were just so, like, they were so tight, but they had so much emotion in the music and like dynamic, like their like dynamic range and like just everything about them. And then Korn played afterwards, and it was just like noise.
Oh,
so
nice.
I was like, man.
Yeah, they usually tour together.
Until I saw them live. But I mean, they didn't have the original guitarist and drummer, so
yeah,
it's really the same thing.
Well, Kristo, we have come to the end, man. It went by quick.
Quickly.
Yeah, it's very quick, man. An hour. Everyone always says like, "Oh, an hour is long." I'm like, no, it's actually
super quick.
It's actually quite short. But I'll definitely have you back on. We must find something to talk about with music, like a little bit more detail about music. Maybe how music has influenced cultures. I would love to start having shows like that where I don't know, whatever it is about music and you want to talk about. If there's a specific point in history or jazz, like I don't know, for example, like, oh, you want to talk about how jazz music influenced some of the South African artists, like that's, I think, interesting, and I would be willing to talk about. But that's just an example. I'm not saying that has to be the topic.
Yeah,
But
yeah, no, definitely.
you let me know, and I'll have you back on the show. It was a pleasure to get to know you, my friend. Thank you so much for all
Shot,
the
man.
support that you give to the channel and stuff like that. And
Can I just quickly answer a question that was asked like ages ago?
Sure.
Someone asked about whether it's important to read, to be able to read sheet music when you're a musician. It is important if you want to be a working musician. So in terms of, okay, so I don't really use it that much at the moment. But if you ever do like orchestral stuff, which I used to do a lot of, if you ever play in like musicals, there's a lot of like studio work where you'll just rock up and they'll put a bunch of music in front of you. You just have to read and play it.
Mm.
My reading isn't that good anymore because I don't use it. If you don't use it, you lose it. But I would say it is quite important. So unless you kind of luck out and just play for one band and it becomes famous and you're playing like your own songs all the time, then you don't have to read.
Mm.
But it's still it's a. I mean, I use it to teach. I use it to when I'm making notes for myself, when I'm trying to learn like a whole new set. When I'm playing for like a new band and I have to like learn a bunch of new stuff and we only have one rehearsal or something, or we don't even rehearse beforehand. I have to learn a bunch of new music. Then I like write down notes and So I think it is quite important.
Yeah, I think a good way maybe also to add to that is if you want to just do it as a hobby, then maybe not so much important. But if you want to do it as a professional and be regarded as an expert and a professional, then yeah, learn to read. It's like,
sorry, and another thing. Sorry to interrupt, but if you can see something visually, and you can hear it, it's so much easier to understand it, right? So if you can visually see something, it's like writing something down to like remember it. Like when you were like in school, like varsity, writing something down just kind of nails it down, or drawing a thought bubble diagram or whatever of something, like all those lame like learning tricks. But I mean, it works, like doing something in like a graphical way. Even if music is like an auditory thing, it just you are just using another sense to help you to understand something and to work. And like I've actually thought of ideas just by writing music and not thinking of how it's going to sound. I was just like thinking mathematically about, hey, what if I do this? What if I try this? Some of it sounds crap, some of it sounds great. So I think reading is quite an important skill to have, and it's not that difficult, really. It's much harder to learn how to read English than to read.
Well, then there you go, people. Learn how to read music notes instead of English, and we'll all be fine.
Listen to your music teacher.
Yeah, except for if they hit you with a ruler. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I do have to go because I am having a show at 8:30 with some comedians. We're going to be chatting with you guys. It's a general topic. Funny you should say that. We're going to be just chatting with you, having a conversation, talking amongst ourselves. We're probably going to touch on the comedy industry being reopened as well, but we'll see. And you guys can just ask us questions and we'll answer. We're just going to have a very chill chat. So that's up next. But for now, Kristo, once again, thank you so much for coming on to my show, man. I really enjoyed this conversation. Like I said,
Thanks for having me, man.
No problem. I would love to have you. I would love to have you back.
Oh, okay. Thanks, man. So I wasn't that crap, eh?
No, of course not, man. You're super interesting. You know what? I'll be honest with you. It's all about the stash. I gotta see that stash again. I gotta see it again. All right, man. So for those of you that were watching, thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Please give it a share. And if I don't see you later tonight, well, stay safe, be kind to one another, and I'll see you at the next one. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey guys, so if you enjoyed the show, please consider giving it a like and a share. Don't forget to subscribe as well if you're new to my channel. And if you really enjoyed the content, feel free to join and become a member. Don't forget about my fight against cancel culture. That's in the link in the description below. Support my fight against cancel culture. Go to that link and all the information is there. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching.